I've been telling you guys the honeymoon is officially over. The long walks on Woke Beach complaining about the dangers of the changing climate, which the rest of us are referring to as fall. The candlelit dinners at 5-Star Frank's, home of the grilled woke wiener. The passionate nights at the Cucumber Inn, where the supersized cucumber is always welcome inside. Those days are over. The honeymoon has officially ended for cackling Cam Harris, along with her new bestie, Tim Walz. Since the honeymoon ended between Cam and her pretend friends in the mainstream media, it has been one heartbreak after another. After weeks of running her campaign on vibes, she was pressured to release some of her brilliant ideas. Now, this caused feelings of unease with Cam Harris. For the first time in her career as a politician, Cam was expected to reveal her policies. It would be like someone claiming to be a chef with decades of experience getting nervous when you ask them to make you a grilled cheese. But after weeks of pressure, Cam Harris finally revealed her plan for America. Price controls at the grocery store, taxes on unrealized income, and possibly censoring free speech online in the name of public safety. Now, according to Cam Harris, these ideas represent progress. According to real Americans, like Hulk Hogan, brother, I am a real American. According to real Americans, these ideas represent communism. Cam was heavily criticized for her draconian strategies, causing her to change her mind on some of her positions. Her first one-on-one interview with CNN last week, which ended up being a slumber party because Cammy invited her bestie Timmy. Her first media interview in the nearly 2 months that she has been running for president, it was an unmitigated disaster. And now, as things are starting to get worse for Cam Harris, the family of Tim Walz, they have come out publicly and endorsed Donald Trump. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. I think you can tell a lot about the character of someone by listening to the opinions of the people closest to them, or by looking at the lives of their kids. I remember when I was a maniac growing up. I was a horrible teenager. Me and my mom used to fight all the time. But in the midst of our arguments, my mom used to say, "I'm correcting your behavior because you're a reflection on me." Now, my 13 or 14-year-old mind, it could never understand what my mom meant by that. Eventually, she just stopped saying it altogether. I didn't find out until years later that she stopped telling me that because everyone else would tell her how pleasant I was to be around. I was just an asshole to my own mom. But at the time, I didn't understand what she meant, but I do now. In most cases, what children grow up to become, it is a direct reflection on how they were raised. It's a direct reflection on their parents. Donald Trump has 5 children. To my knowledge, 4 of them grew into functioning adults. And the 5th child, Barron, he is well on his way to becoming one. When you listen to his kids, when you listen to his friends and family talk about him, they all say the same things about the Trumper. Behind the brash public facade is a generous father and grandfather. He may have struggled with his marriages, but he always took care of his children. Personal friends like Dana White, they have nothing but great things to say about the Trumper. Before he announced that he was running for president in 2015, Donald Trump, he was universally loved and respected by Hollywood and the mainstream media. And you don't have to take my word for it. Uncle KC always comes with the proof. Check out this clip of the Yentas from The View as they melt in the presence of Donald Trump and his toxic masculinity. Watch for yourself.
So I believe him because I believe Donald. He's an upstanding American.
Okay, you ready? Come in. Just check it out, please.
No, it's true. It's real.
It's not very pretty, but it's real.
Donald's been doing
Because he's in a leadership position. I'm not sure that that's an effective way to attack your opponent.
Strange thing has happened over the last couple of years. It's called Twitter.
And I have this account with millions of people.
Right.
And I've got all these, and I used to say I want to own a newspaper. This is better. Whoopi, I'm telling you.
Was 3 pounds.
Whoopi, I love you. I'm telling you.
I love you too. I think
For the most part, Donald Trump is respected and admired by those closest to him. Unfortunately for Timmy Walz, he can't say the same about his own family. Earlier this week, I had several of you guys send me a photo of Tim Walz's family. Now, I have intentionally sat on this story for the past 4 or 5 days because when I initially saw this, I'll just be honest with you, I thought it was fake. I didn't think it was real. I didn't want to be responsible for spreading propaganda. But now I can tell you with 100% certainty, it's real. Check it out for yourself. Allow me to properly introduce you to this pleasant group of real Americans. This is the Walz family. As you can see, they designed family t-shirts that say Walz for Trump, which makes perfect sense when you think about it. The Trumper, he's always been a big fan of walls. He started construction of a wall on the southern border before progress was stopped by our former fearless leader, Johnny B. Biden, and his pretend vice president, Cam Harris. The same Cam Harris that is now claiming to support border walls. What does it say about Timmy Walz when his own family is not only refusing to support him, they are endorsing his political opponent? Well, Casey, this is no big deal. According to Timmy, these are distant cousins. He hasn't seen them in years. He barely knows these people. They're not really his family. Oh, yeah? Okay, I'll give you that. It has been confirmed that the people in the photo, they are distant relatives of Tim Walz. Matter of fact, some haven't even met him. But what about his brother? I mean, besides your parents, there is no closer relative than your own sibling, right? Jeff Walz, he is the brother of Tim Walz. Earlier this week, he revealed publicly that he and his family, they have been estranged from Timmy for the last 8 years. I think that's just a polite way of saying we have disowned this doofus. Brother or not, we want nothing to do with a man who buys tampons for his wife and himself. According to the Trumper, he will be meeting with Jeff Walz later this month. He will be meeting with the brother of his opponent. Again, what does that say about Tim Walz? What does it say about a man when his own family is against him? Now, there could be a variety of reasons as to why someone becomes estranged from their family. Substance abuse, alcoholism, divorce, trauma, religious differences. But I don't think any of those apply to Tim Walz. I think the reason that his family disowned him is due to differences in ideology. And that is educated speculation because his own brother publicly stated that he is 100% against his political ideology. You know, the more people get to know Cam Harris and Tim Walz, the more they seem to not like them. Last week, Mark Cuban, he conducted a poll on Twitter. Now, Mark Cuban is a proud deacon at Woke United Methodist, which is really disappointing because I used to have a lot of respect for Mark Cuban, but he conducted a poll on Twitter and he asked one question: whose persona, whose character would you like to see young children grow up to become? Now, he offered 2 options, cackling Cam Harris or the leader of the orange race. Over 800,000 people voted in this poll. Almost 70% want young children to grow up and be like Donald Trump. But it gets even worse for Cam Harris. Her pretend friends in the mainstream media, they continue turning their back on her. The same media who was praising Cam last month, they are now starting to question her credibility. Watch for yourself.
The K-File team scoured Kamala Harris's tweets and statements going all the way back to 2017. And what they found was more than 50 instances of Harris slamming Trump's border wall. But now, new Harris campaign ads actually showcase that very wall.
As a border state prosecutor, she took on drug cartels and jailed gang members for smuggling weapons and drugs across the border.
Harris also wrote in her 2019 book, quote, "There was a bigger reason to oppose the border wall. A useless wall on the southern border would be nothing more than a symbol, a monument standing in opposition to not just everything I value, but to the fundamental values upon which this country was built. How could I vote to build what would be little more than a monument designed to send the cold, hard message, keep out?"
Yeah, that's right. We found more than 50 of those tweets criticizing the border wall before she used that in her ad. And I want people to take a look at just a few of what she said here. She called it wasteful, useless, a waste of taxpayer money, a vanity wall project, a wasteful border wall, a stupid wall, a medieval vanity project, and an unnecessary wall.
That was not Fox News. That wasn't News Nation, home of Chris Cuomo. Hey, it's me, Chrissy C. That was not The Blaze. That was not Glenn Beck. That was CNN, the Cemetery News Network, questioning Cam Harris for her sudden change on illegal immigration. You know, there will always be political differences in this country. There will always be arguments. There will always be debates on issues like abortion, gun control, government spending, welfare programs, which is fine. That is perfectly fine. But I don't think that's what this election is about. And I think some in the mainstream media are coming to that realization. If you look at this election honestly, there is one candidate who supports personal freedom, while the other candidate seems to want to take it away. Have you noticed that Cam Harris hasn't said a damn thing about Twitter being banned in Brazil? I wonder why. The Attorney General of Minnesota, the home state of Tim Walz, he came out publicly and congratulated Brazil for censoring free speech. I was pleasantly surprised when I saw that report on CNN. I hope to see more in the mainstream media honestly assessing Cam Harris because it is definitely needed. There are millions of people in this country who have no idea who in the hell Cam Harris is. They damn sure don't know who Tim Walz is. Hell, Tim Walz, he would struggle to be identified at his own estranged family reunion. In the land of the blind, the man with one eye is king. Unfortunately, there are millions of politically blind people here in America. There are millions of people who vote based on letters instead of voting based on policy. The blind always have to be led by someone, which is why I think it's crucial for the media to keep highlighting the inconsistencies with Cam Harris. Problem is, I highly doubt that continues to happen. Wouldn't surprise me if CNN chastised Aaron Burnett for having the audacity to criticize Cam. But give me your thoughts on this. Tim Walz humiliated. Tim Walz betrayed by his own family. His distant relatives are voting for the Trumper. His own brother is against him and could be meeting with Donald Trump later this month. What does that say about Tim Walz? What does that say about his character? What does it mean when your own family refuses to support you and has essentially disowned you? You tell me. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. Appreciate your support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.